He is one of the good guys in the community. Coming up against, I've lost the name. Quick, Freya, help me. It's Karajala. Arnie Karajala.
Yes,
I'm going to go for that.
Arnie Karajala over there with a couple of accomplishments to their name. You know, got LAIC top 64 and a top 16 at Lille, so no slouch themselves. So
I mean, top 16 at regional and top 64 in international. That is pretty impressive. A lot of players would be very happy with that kind of achievement. Philip Schulz, of course, got 2 very deep top cuts into EUIC. Top 4 in 2016, top 8 in 2019. Also, both of those. And then Bremen regional champion and Harrogate regional champion. So quite the, and let's be clear, that's kind of like the 4 best. Yeah. We could keep going with that list for some time.
Yeah, we could. Also, you say we were both at both of those, to be fair.
We were indeed. They were the early EU regionals with the whole team. It was wonderful. We had fun.
We did. So it's a bit weird for me looking back at those, though, for obvious reasons. But still good times.
Oh, they were fun. So I gave you cake at one of them, I believe.
Yeah, you did.
And we've got Mew Genesect coming up against Roaring Moon, and this is a deck I was saying about earlier. It is a deck we've not seen on stream. It's one that I was hoping to feature. 2 Mew V Max and a Mew V and a Genesect.
Brutal prizes there for Arnie. Yeah, this is a win-in scenario. This is the last kind of prizing you want to see. Wow. Some of this only play 2 Mew V Max, actually. If that's the case, this is really spelled trouble. I hope they're playing 3.
Yeah, I'm just going and having a quick peek at the deck list now. If he does only play 2 Mew V Max, it is no, there are 3. There are 3 Mew V Max in the deck list, so we are okay here. There's 1 available in the deck. But having a Genesect down to hurt your draw engine is not ideal. These are things we need to be watching. So you can already see from Philip's side, it is very much a lost box variant of that Roaring Moon. But we're starting off with Arnie here. There's a Genesect in the active. And was that a Chromatic Heads turn 1?
It looks like it.
Eyeing up that Battle VIP pass to go and grab a couple of basics. That's what you want turn 1. You also want access to all 4 Genesect. But hey, as long as you can get 3 on the field, I think you'll be all right.
That's why you always love to see, of course, getting any 2 basics from the deck and putting them onto your bench. Mew was really the deck that solidified the use of Battle VIP Pack as a settler card, if you think about it.
No, I agree with you entirely. I was saying earlier, I think it's a Joe on the stream, that when Battle VIP Pass was first revealed, people were like, oh, you can only use it turn 1. I don't know if it's going to be that good. And we were a little bit cagey. It took us a while as a community to really realize. And now looking back, we're all like, oh, that's one of the best cards they've printed in years. But it took us a little while to get there.
Yeah, and it was kind of people popularizing in Mew and then kind of applying that same logic to other decks, realizing, yeah, sure, it's a dead card later on, but opening with it is so broken, it's worth those, you know, that potential risk of it being a dead draw later.
Oh, there's a card we don't see very many of here. We've got ourselves Featherball. Lets you search for a Pokemon with no retreat cost. Very good in Mew, of course, because some of those Pokemon don't have much of a retreat cost.
Yep, both the Mew V and the Mew V Max both have a retreat cost of 0, so very, very useful card in Mew to fetch that. Also, it's nice in the sense that it's a card you can always play, even if you don't need to search for anything, just to get it out of your hand to draw more with Fusion Strike system.
Yep, always nice. So we do see the Fusion Strike system coming in here, lets you draw until you've got a number of cards in your hand equal to a number of Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. So right now, Arnie plays it and draws until 4 cards in hand. The ideal is it's draw until you've got 6, and it's one of those cards that it's limited to 1 per Genesect per turn. But unlike things like Kricketune, for instance, or Crobat, as it was, you can use as many as you've got.
Yep, you can, and that is, of course, absolutely huge, meaning that you can... the whole reason why this archetype has been so successful for so long, and it's basically never left the metagame as a top contender the entire time that it's been legal, and it is simply because the amount of draw power is absolutely absurd.
We do see a switch card getting the Mew into the active there, and I mean, Arnie's basically setting up their bench exactly as they want to here. We've got 3 Mew in total, 2 Genesect. I'm assuming they want a 3rd Genesect. There is a Meloetta, there is an Ice Cube here. So either of those could be quite good. It really just depends what you're actually going after. But a lot of the time, if you've gone for 3 Mew, that's basically saying this is going to be my attacker this game. So you will want 3 Genesect to give you maximum draw.
Yeah, we do see there as well the Trekking Shoes. Not a card that every Mew build opts to play, but of course does give you a little bit of that extra sort of turbo power. So as you look at the top card of your deck and then either discard it or, you know, and keep it. But then if you do discard it, you get to draw a card. Very, very very useful. And of course, with that lovely the prize pack holo promo there as well.
Yeah, the Play Pokemon promos, people are loving them. We're seeing them all over the stream this weekend, and they got that lovely little logo on, and they're a little bit harder to see the path to the peak there as well.
Yep.
Just a little bit harder to get hold of, which makes players like blinging out their decks a little bit with them. We did see the third Genesect coming out for Marnie, as predicted, and we go over to Philip Schulz here, starting off with Comfey in the active and a Battle VIP pass. Those are the two things you want when you're playing a Lost Engine deck.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, I think it's important to take a little bit of time to sort of step back and step aside and actually talk about what Philip's deck is, because we have seen, Lost Zone Toolbox decks where the idea is you play, one Roaring Moon, maybe like, a couple of other attackers, and you kind of toolbox it the way that Tord has built the list. What Philip's going for here is a little bit different, because what this actually is, it's a Roaring Moon focused Lost Zone deck. You have 2 copies of Roaring Moon in there, not just one. The idea being that Roaring Moon is such a good attacker that actually I want multiple of them, and I want this to be a main focus of my attacking strategy.
Yeah, and the energy line is a little bit different. We see some others. You've got your 4 Darkness energy there, and you've still got attacking options. You've still got your Charizard there as an attacking option. You've got Psychic energy there, so the Sableye is an attacking option. And obviously you've got your Cramorant, because it's just way too good a Pokemon not to play. But you're right, it is a deck that it's got those other Lost Zone tricks. Your Cramorant, your Sableye, your Radiant Charizard, but it is a deck that aims to build towards a Roaring Moon. That's kind of the point here. You are using that, and we see, there's Pokemon in the format like Gardevoir, like your Giratina V-Star, like your Charizard, that when they get going, they're really hard to KO. So being able to just be like, ha, instant one-hit KO, very nice. And of course, you're hitting weakness on Gardevoir, and you're hitting weakness on Mew as well. That ain't bad going.
Yep. And I've got to be honest, looking at sort of the decks with Roaring Moon that have seen success and which ones haven't, it does seem like the Lost Zone Toolbox way of playing Roaring Moon, whether it's just as a one-of or whether it's more of a focus in that regard, it seems like it's kind of cementing itself as the best way to play this card.
It is. You see a lot of decks that play it with Dark Patch and new Professor Sada card. But honestly, and that's how I like to play it, incidentally, all my testing goes around that list. I like going turbo with that. But actually, playing it the way Philip's playing it, you do get all of the bonuses of your Cramorant, your Sableye. It makes it so much easier in that regard. You do miss out on the early Roaring Moon. You ain't getting a turn 1 Roaring Moon, but you've got stuff like Cramorant, so you don't need a turn 1 Roaring Moon. And of course, one of the big downsides of Roaring Moon, hard to trade with small Pokemon. Cramorant will do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a big part of maybe why these variants have seen more success, because Roaring Moon, great into other 2-prize and multi-prize decks, right? But like you just said, against single prizes, not so much. If you play it in this variant instead, you have that best of both worlds. You have like, the blow up button option with the Roaring Moon, but you also have these single prize attackers that can trade well into other single prize decks. So it's kind of you're almost having your cake and eating it in a way.
You are indeed. We had some lovely cake at lunch here. It was very nice indeed. I enjoyed that cake. While we've been talking, though, Philip has managed to do some very good things. He's got 4 cards in the Lost Zone, now 5 cards in the Lost Zone. So the Lost Zone is getting stacked up very, very nicely indeed. And we've now got at least four cards in the Lost Zone. And there is you've got your Cramorant down. So an attack is going to be coming off here. He's not working towards the Roaring Moon now. That's not the point. That comes later when you've got Mirage Gate. Your goal turn 1, get cards in the Lost Zone. That's what he's doing very nicely. Then you ping off an attack with Cramorant, and all of a sudden that Mew has got a lot of damage on.
Yep, 4 in the Lost Zone already, so Cramorant can already go ahead with that Spit innocently. Of course, with the Lost Provisions ability, can attack for no energy cost as long as you have 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone. And this is very often the lead early attacker for the Lost Zone Toolbox decks for this reason.
Yeah, it's one of the best early game Pokemon in the game. Doing 110 for 0 energy on a basic Pokemon. And, like we saw there, 2 Comfey and a Chorus's Experiment. It's not a lot to ask to get 4 in the Lost Zone, turn 1 going second. So back over to Arnie here. We've got an Ultra Ball coming down. Gee whiz, I wonder what this could be for.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to use my Zatsu Friend's psychic powers to go ahead and predict this. I think it's going to be a Mew VMAX.
Probably going to be a Mew VMAX. It has to be an evolution Pokemon with a full bench, and of course, this is the only evolution Pokemon in the deck. You'll see that Arnie evolved the benched one there, so that you can attack with essentially a fresh Mew VMAX that's not got any damage on. and hopefully maybe try and orchestrate a Psychic Leap at some point to heal that damage off. But of course, Cramorant will not be KO'd by a Psychic Leap, not without a couple of modifiers, and you don't really want to use your modifiers to KO a Cramorant.
Not in an ideal world, though. I mean, if you have to, then you have to, and, you know, it's not ideal, but yeah, you really don't want to if you can also avoid it. So, Fusion Strike system with the full bench, so we'll can draw up to 6, finding a couple of cards, also a Battle VIP pass, but not usually that great, but it is a very easy fodder for the Lost Vacuum, so you can get rid of that Pokestop and stop Philip from being able to dig for more items, at least.
Yeah, I like that from Arnie here, going, and it looks like we're eyeing up another Fusion Strike system here in a moment. Oh, actually going to go Judge first. And we know that Lost Zone decks do not necessarily like having their hand disrupted. There's a Cramorant in the active that doesn't have free retreat and there's no energy on. There are a couple of Comfey on the bench, but there's no Radiant Greninja, not in the Roaring Moon build of Lost Box. So there's no real draw there for Philip until he starts getting his Comfey in the active. So, you know, put your opponent down to a 4-card hand and know that they're not drawing anything unless they start pivoting out the active.
Absolutely, Judge, a very solid option here for that exact reason. Like, that early disruption against Lost Box, like you just said, it's good even if they have a Radiant Greninja out, it's still great, but even better against Philip because, as you mentioned, there is no Radiant Greninja draw option, so Philip's going to be forced to find a switch card off of these 4 cards in order to be able to try and refill his hand again.
Of course, Arnie is going to be going to KO the Cramorant, so Philip will probably actually get 1 Comfey for free.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he's going to be down a prize and the Cramorant's going to be KO'd. Not sure that's much of a better situation.
A lot of Ultra Balls in Arnie's hand. Also a Cramomatic, but not going to use that. Just going to Ultra Ball it away along with another Ultra Ball.
That's twice now. We've seen Arnie use an Ultra Ball to get rid of a Cramomatic, basically saying, I like the coin flip, that's why I'm playing the card, but a card that I need to flip in order to get any value out of, maybe I'll rather just play the Ultra Ball, get my MUV Maxes out nice and early, and I've still got my Genesect to draw a bunch. I've not used my V-Star Power yet, and I don't think we've actually seen, no, we don't see the Forest Seal Stone on the board yet, but you know it's going to be coming out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so there it is, the last Fusion Strike system for the turn. There is already an attack ready to go, so yeah, Arnie, not, like you said, not really needing the Cramomatic given that there is, like, the attacking option is already guaranteed. Not going to be playing anything off of that last Fusion Strike system, though. Just going to be the retreat, and then it's going to be copying a Technoblast for the knockout on the Cramorant.
Very nice indeed, yeah. If you were digging for the energy, you would have to roll the Cramomatic to try and search the energy, but nothing needed there. KO the Cramorant, go up by 1 prize, and now it's over to Philip. Now, Philip's got 5 cards in the Lost Zone, 6 now with that Comfey. So that means that we are 1 card in the Lost Zone away, potentially from a Mirage Gate. And here's the great thing about Roaring Moon into MUV Max. You don't need to use your big attack. You don't need to go for Frenzied Gouging, great attack name,
yes,
get the instant 1-hit KO while doing 200 damage to yourself. What you can do is just use Calamity Storm as long as there's a Stadium in play to get that 1-hit KO, because you're actually at that point doing 440 damage.
Yes, of course, the ever-exploited dark weakness on that Mew on that Mew VMAX, Roaring Moon, yet another card that can really sort of hit into that with maximum effectiveness. Now, only issue here from Philip's side is that there's not really the ways to piece together the attack this turn. So, I mean, you could have maybe tried and do a lucky dig for it with the Pokestop, but instead just going, nope, you know what, it's too risky at this point, I'm just going to pass. And I think this makes sense, right? You don't really want to be KOing this Mew V in the active because it doesn't really get you further in your prize map. You want to KO Mew V Max, and that's going to be your best use of your Roaring Moon.
2 MUV mats go down, you take 6 prizes, job's a good one. And Arnie does play Fusion Strike Energy, so you can attack with Ice Cube and Meloetta, and you can even attack with Genesect in a pinch. But most of the time, Arnie is going to be attacking with that MUV max. So your prize map is simple. KO 2 of those things. And if you go down a couple of prizes, it doesn't even really matter like that.
No, not really.
As long as you can get your Roaring Moon at the right time.
Yes. And I'm sure that's what Philip will be aiming for. And now that there's, you know, a Mew VMAX in the active, Philip is going to feel a lot more confident going forward this play next turn. And because Philip is only sending up 1 prizes to be KO'd by Arnie's Muse right now, you don't really mind that. You know, your prize map, your planned prize map is free and free, so you can afford to like take a few knockouts on your stuff and just build up towards that Roaring Moon, and then just win into attacks. It's not too dissimilar to how it used to be when people used to play Drapion.
No, absolutely. That Drapion can be a very good tech. We don't play it here. You don't need it. You've got Roaring Moon. But we are getting to that stage where you need to actually start taking it now. Because the problem is, when you attack with Roaring Moon, Arnie is going to be trying to respond. So at some point, you've given away enough prizes. Given away a couple prizes, fine, not a big problem. But there comes a point where you've given away too many. What have you seen, Freya?
A huge top deck from Philip there. Philip drew the nest ball for turn.
Well, that's going to get a Roaring Moon, that is.
That is going to get a Roaring Moon, yes.
So now we need a Mirage Gate, a third energy, and preferably a stadium, because what you really don't want to do is give away the easy return KO.
I'm very sure Philip has all of that. I saw Mirage Gates in hand. There's the Pokestop. They opted not to play. I think he's got it all.
If he's got it all, then that is going to be wonderful here. I mean, we're in Germany, so maybe we should say wunderbar. Either way, he's going to be going for that Roaring Moon, and this is going to be wonderful. Need the stadium. There is a stadium in hand. We do see, you were right all along, Freya. There is a Pokestop in hand. There's a Mirage Gate. So we need an energy and a pivot. Do we have those in hand?
That's a good question. That I did not quite spot. Oh, tiny problem here. There's only one dark energy in the deck.
Oh, don't say that. That's not ideal.
No, it's not. And yeah, that
oh, goodness
makes sense given that
two prizes. That's something we maybe should have called out a little bit earlier there, Freya. There are 4 darkness energy in the deck. 2 of them are prized. Now, is one of them lost zoned?
No, one is in the discard.
Are you? Oh, that is a discard. We can't see. Okay, there is one in the discard, so that needs to be recovered. Oh, that is not a good situation. So Philip doesn't actually have enough energy, and it's worth noting, Roaring Moon, both the attacks are 2 darkness, 1 colorless.
Wait, although hold the phone, Philip does have a Clara in hand.
That'll work. That'll work very nicely indeed. I mean, look, if Philip couldn't attack with Roaring Moon, I think we'd be getting towards a concession here.
Yeah, I think so. And, oh, actually, I don't think Philip quite had the switch out, but now with this Flower Selecting, it was between a Switch card and a Radiant Charizard, which is not great, but in this matchup, I think you don't need the Radiant Charizard as much, right?
You don't. What you do need to do, you need to take at least 1 darkness energy off of the prizes here. You want to be starting to get those, but the good news is that if Philip, we've got the Switch card now, we've got Clara to get the darkness energy back, so the 2 being prized was not such a big deal in the end, and it looks like one of those is going to come off the prizes here, so this is going nicely.
Also of note, Philip picked up a cross switcher off of that Pokestop. He has one in hand already, so if he can piece together for next turn as well, that could be a very, very quick 2 knockout win.
Yeah, and what we say, Arnie does technically have other attackers, but really it's a Mew VMAX deck. And if another Mew VMAX comes out, Philip can finish it off with Roaring Moon very quickly. So here we see the hit into Mew. Mew goes down. Philip now goes up by a prize. And now here's the thing. Roaring Moon is not actually the easiest one to take out here. Mew is generally hitting for, well, really 190 to take out the double turbo, and that means you're going to need 2 damage modifiers, and Choice Belt ain't going to work.
No, it's not. Of course, Roaring Moon is an EX. Choice Belt only works to boost damage against other V Pokemon, so yeah.
And that extra 10 HP going up to 230 rather than an average Pokemon V, which is 220, that is huge because it means Power Tablet puts you up to 220 and you are 10 short. So being able to get that Pokestop and get the attack, that doesn't do all the self-damage, using Calamity Storm, not Frenzy Gouging, that's pretty good.
There would be another way to get the KO. If Arnie can power up the bench Mew V with another Fusion Strike energy and then evolve that one, then you need 1 damage modifier because your damage isn't being reduced by the double turbo. That would be 210, go to 240 would be enough with 1 Power Tablet.
I agree. Oh, speaking of which, here's 2 Power Tablets.
Oh. Okay, well...
I think after all that, double Power Tablet did come down, so that's not such a big issue. It is something to watch, though. When you need multiple damage modifiers, you're not able to use Choice Belt, it is something you need to be aware of. We've seen players whiff on those many a time, but it seems like here, Arnie has got the double Power Tablet, and then Philip's going to be basically in the same position he was in last turn.
Yeah.
Which is, can you get a Roaring Moon, Mirage Gate, Energy, and get the attack off? And if the answer's yes, Philip's going to win. If the answer's no, well, he'll have another turn because there's no way he's putting down a 2-prizer if he can't do it. Yeah,
and that goes back to the advantage I said before, right? The fact that because you're playing a single prize deck, you have multiple turns to maybe build up towards an easy win, given that every time you take a knockout, you're taking 3 prize cards.
Yeah, and that is going to give him a cheeky extra turn if he's not able to piece it together next turn. He's actually got 2 turns to pull this off because he's going to give away 2 prizes, but then 1. So Arnie is going to need 2 more turns after this. So that gives Philip 2 turns to try and get that return Roaring Moon. But it does seem like a Roaring Moon party here. The Charizard is gone and isn't doing enough damage. Nothing else is. It's Roaring Moon or bust.
Ultra Ball finding, well, I'm not quite sure what, I think I missed what was found there, but playing it, discarding a Meloetta and a Elisa Sparkle, just to try and thin the hand out more and get some more draws in with the Genesect.
Drawing more with the Genesect is always a good thing. Arnie doesn't really need much here.
No.
Well, no, the KO's already on the board with a double power tablet. The question is, can you set up nicely? We've actually got the full 4 Genesect down now. The one came out the prizes. And basically just setting up for the future. Essentially, I want everything I need.
There is one missing key puzzle piece here, is for Arnie to find some kind of disruption supporter. That would make this the ideal turn. Oh,
absolutely. The KO's on the board, but disruption supporter would be nice. We do see a Roxanne and a Judge. Only one of each, no Iono. And did we see the Judge earlier? Was that this game?
Yeah, we did. So it was on the first...
Very early.
Yeah, it was played on turn 2 and to great effect. But is there access to maybe like a Roxanne?
There we go. And Roxanne is way better than Judge right here, let's be clear. So you called it, Freya. That is the perfect supporter we need right now. And that is going to make Philip's job so much more difficult. Once again, after a KO, you'll get that free Comfey. But you're going to have 2 cards and a Comfey, and you're going to have to start piecing it together from there. Arnie will need 2 more turns to win, but if Philip doesn't draw anything, Arnie's going to get those 2 turns.
Yeah, so Roxanne going to put a stop to Philip's plans for sure. Well, as long as he can't draw out of it, but it definitely makes it a lot less likely that Philip can take this return KO, which is exactly what Arnie wants to prevent. So a decent 6 cards for Arnie as well. That's what really nice thing about playing Roxanne always, is that unlike with Iono, in the late game, you get a lot of cards from it while your opponent doesn't get many at all.
No, that's really nice. You get 6, they get 2. It's not really very fair, frankly, but it'll work quite nicely.
And there is another Judge as well, just in case you want to do another disruption supporter next turn. But
it was quite nice.
But I mean, also at this point, Judge would give Philip more cards, so maybe you probably don't want to do that.
No, we'll see how this turn comes out. I mean, it really is quite simple. Philip's going to have 2 turns to piece together a Roaring Moon.
Yeah.
If he does it, he's going to win the game. If he doesn't, Arnie is going to get these 2 prizes here, 1 prize next turn, 1 prize the following turn. And I know that if you're copying Technoblast, you need to switch between Mew and all of that. It really doesn't matter. Mew's got free retreat. You need a VMAX and an energy. You've got 4 Genesect down. You're going to be able to attack, all right?
Yeah, Chorus Experiment there, found off the flower, selecting an absolutely huge find. There's a Super Rod and a Mirage Gate, but I think that...
Double Mirage Gate.
Yeah. I think the thing that you're missing is a way to get the Roaring Moon out. You basically got almost everything there. You've got Super Rod, which you need to get back energies into the deck so you can Mirage Gate. You have the Mirage Gate to get the energies out, but that's tough.
Well, surely you take Chorus, Mirage Gate, and Super Rod.
Yeah, I think you have to.
And then you play the Chorus and cross your fingers.
It's...
There's a
next
switch
turn
out there as well, to be fair, and you will need a switch out at some point. But I think Super Rod and Mirage Gate are too important, and you obviously need Chorus to keep drawing, so...
Yeah.
I think they've probably got to be... I mean, it's an awkward situation, because you do need 4 of those cards. But no, it was as we predicted. The switch card and the second Mirage Gate hit the discard pile, and you went for the Super Rod to get the energy into the deck, the Mirage Gate to get the energy out the deck, and the Chorus's Experiment, you need a switch out and a Roaring Moon.
Yes, so... And I think just to do another actual little dig this turn, it's going to be attach manually to Psychic to the active retreat, do another flower selecting, and finds a Pokegear, and didn't quite see what the other card was.
But do we not now need double Mirage Gate?
Well, no, you just need Mirage Gate and a switch out, right?
Well, we need to get free energy onto a Roaring Moon. And we've just manually attached to the Comfey.
No, but you still would need 2 Mirage Gates because you need 2 Darks for the attack cost, and the energy that was attached to the Psychic. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And that does make it more difficult, because obviously a Mirage Gate hit the Lost Zone.
Yes.
We've seen 1, so there should only be 1 left in deck.
Yes, there should. You also do maybe have the option of, because there was 1 Dark Energy that Philip took off the prizes last turn. That went back into the deck from the Roxanne, so you could find and manually attach a Dark if you wanted to as well after playing the Super Rod. There's a couple of different ways you can go about it, but not going to find it this turn, so now Arnie's going to inevitably take a KO here, and Philip's going to have this 1 last turn to try and piece together the second Roaring Moon.
And that's why we keep saying this single prize variant is awesome. Did not get the Roaring Moon. here's the question, can Arnie disrupt? Because Arnie knows at this stage that Philip is looking for the combo. And there's no way Philip's going to put down the Roaring Moon until he has everything, because otherwise it's, oh, boss's orders, now I win, yay.
Yeah.
So that's not happening. So Arnie knows that Philip has probably got some of the bits and is working towards them next turn. Yeah. Here comes the judge, and this is so annoying for Philip, who had almost everything, but not quite. And now you need a Roaring Moon, you need a Darkness Energy, you need a Mirage Gate, you need a Switch Out. That's actually it, but off a Judge to 4, well, Judge to 4 and 1 Comfey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not ideal, but not at all impossible. The one thing that might make things a little bit trickier, if Arnie's very clever right here, what they could do is retreat into the Mew V, go for a Psychic Leap to KO the Comfey, and then retreat into a Genesect. That way Philip would also need a Gusting card as well as everything else.
I mean, Arnie's sitting here at 5-1-2. I think he is pretty clever, and I think you've just given us a very nice play here. If you're KOing, and that's what I said earlier, you don't want to Psychic Leap to Cramorant, but at some point in the game, it will become a lot more relevant, and this is a turn where Psychic Leap becomes much better, but you need the Mew V max if you're going to be pulling that off. Oh, no, you don't. You Psychic Leap with a Mew V.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
And that's why you want to anyway. That Mew V's got like 110 damage on it. That's the one you want gone.
Oh, absolutely. No, you Psychic Leap with that one. Job's a good one. Yeah, KO the Comfey. That goes away.
Yeah. Well, I guess, no, you don't really need it to go away even, right? Because if it gets KO'd, it doesn't really matter. Philip doesn't win that way, so you may as well just keep it out.
Yeah, you still need Gusting. It only gives up 2 prizes, not 3. So now you're forcing Philip to have Gusting as well. We do see, yeah, and now you have to put the Roaring Moon down. You know you lose next turn.
Yes, exactly. So
now you can put the Roaring Moon down. There's no real issue with popping it on the bench.
And Philip's going to be pretty happy about having found the nest ball off of that judge. So now it's up to him to piece together what he can from the rest of his hand. We need to see what he has access to. Maybe a flower selecting, try and find some more. There is another Comfey there in hand. So, but let's see. First, we need flower selecting. What do we see there? A Manaphy and a Fire Energy, was that? Yeah.
So there's another Comfey. We're going to see a switch card into the other Comfey.
Oh, that's really awkward. No, that's
it. A scoop from Philip. Arnie wins game 1. Philip cannot get the second Roaring Moon, and that means that Mew V Max is going to be 1 game up. And if Philip wants to win this match and go into day 2, he's going to have to win 2 games pretty quickly.
So I think the reason why he scooped there, that flower selecting, was between Pokestop and Cross Switcher, which you kind of need both of, really, because you need to be able to, you know, get the stadium down, and you need the Pokestop to dig, but you also need the Cross Switcher to gust the Mew. So I think having been forced to choose those two, there was no way to pull it off.
No, whichever one of those cards went into the lost zone made the combo essentially impossible. So Philip scoops, and we got 25 minutes left of this game. So like we've seen for some players in the past, we're going to see Philip playing pretty fast here, and we're going to see Arnie feeling pretty good, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
5-1-2, you're 1 game up against a very well-known, very recognizable player. You played really, really well in that last game. You know, look at that last turn where you hit with a Mew, but didn't even bother Psychic Leaping because it didn't matter if you gave up 2 prizes. Things like making sure you had that last Genesect, making sure you found the disruption on the right turns. Lots of very good plays from Arnie there. You're 1 game up, and you've got to be feeling good at this stage. Yeah, you know Roaring Moon's a pain. You know what else is a pain? Getting multiple Roaring Moon out and into play.
Yeah, and that is, I guess, also part of the disadvantage for playing the Lost Zone box version, right? When you're playing the more, I guess, standard version of Roaring Moon, you're playing 4 copies, you're playing all the ways to get it out. It is pretty much entirely what your deck is focused around. With Lost Box, there's always, you do have some more of that versatility, but it is a few more floating pieces, right? You've got to put it together. You're a bit more vulnerable to disruption in that way, and so, you know, you do end up in situations like this where if you get Roxanne and Judge too much, you just can't put together the win. Oh my, he's done it again! He's prized 2 Mew V Max for the 2nd game in a row. Now, this is actually much, much, much worse, because most players take their prizes bottom to top. If that's what Arnie does, then essentially his last 2 prizes are going to be the 2 Mew V Max. And it is very, very possible that Arnie runs out of Mew V Max. And you can attack with Meloetta, but you need to kind of know early that you're planning for Meloetta here. This is not ideal at all. Oh, although speaking of not ideal at all, Philip's start was absolutely horrendous. 1 flash selecting and then benching a couple things and passing, and Arnie starts with 2 Battle VIP pass.
I mean, starting Battle VIP pass is good. Starting double VIP pass, even better. So, I mean, and this is where Arnie's discovering, like, seriously, 2 games in a row, I've got 2 Mew V Max prize. Can I not catch a break? But, I mean, last game, we saw Arnie going for a quite simple free Mew, free Genesect bench.
Yeah.
At least in the early game. That could change here. Knowing that you've got a 2 Mew Max prize, there is an argument to try and get a Meloetta attack in the early game, using someone like a Lesser Sparkle, but, well, not yet. We've got 3 Genesect, 2 Mew.
Well, you don't need a Meloetta, right? You can just Psychic Leap and KO Comfey that way.
You absolutely can, but then you've got to keep recovering those Mew. It becomes a little bit awkward. You're absolutely right that you can. The problem is you need to prepare for something other than basically using Mew V Max every turn, because you know that might not be possible.
Yes, but it looks like that's going to be what's going to happen here. So Cramomatic was ahead, and it's looking to fetch that Elisa Sparkle. So, and there's already another Fusion Strike energy in the hand as well. So Arnie's got the attack. As long as he can get this Genesect out of the active, he's going to be good to go.
And then the question is, do you want to build up a Mew with Fusion Strike energy, which is always a nice option, so you're not seeing that -20 from Double Turbo, or do you want to go for something like a Meloetta? The problem in this matchup is Meloetta is so easily KO'd by Cramorant.
Exactly.
It kind of makes you not want to bother, because you have to put in way more effort to get Meloetta out than Philip needs to put in for Cramorant.
Yeah, it's way safer, because essentially to pull it off in the way where you attack with a Meloetta, you have to commit 2 energy to it, and if a Cramomatic can just, or sorry, Cramomatic, if a Cramorant can just KO it right back, then you lose those 2 energy, and that's you're going to be pretty sad. Whereas if you're attacking with a Mew, sure, it's 180 HP, it's not a massive amount, but it's still beyond what a Cramorant can reach, and so you get to preserve those energies for longer.
Absolutely fair point. One thing is absolutely certain, and that is that we need to track that Mew V Max, because if the Mew V Max goes down, that is going to be a problem. There is still a bench space left. Arnie's still got that decision to be made. We do see an escape rope, so that is a pivot you said we were needing. Obviously, the Jirachi's going to come up. That has no real utility in this matchup at all. Mew comes into the active, and what have we got here? And we could even see a turn 1 Psychic Leap.
Yeah, we could. I mean, that's ideally you would have wanted to use that to KO the Comfey, because then given Philip's slow start, you're kind of cutting off even more draw in that way. But it looks like Arnie not going for that. Instead, just going to go for the Fusion Strike system.
Might have been the only switch out, and of course, if you play the switch out first, you get to draw more cards with the Genesect. So if you hold the escape rope looking for a better switch out, then every Fusion Strike system is drawing you 1 fewer card. So let's see why the escape rope was played, but I agree. You wanted to KO the Comfey, not the Jirachi. Plus, leaving a pointless Pokemon like Jirachi on your opponent's bench is kind of fun.
Yeah, you can even target it down with a block slide later if you want to. Arnie is playing that Ice Cube that's seen a lot of rise in popularity as a tech attacking option in these Mew VMAX decks. Meanwhile, it looks like Featherball finds another Mew V, so again, filling up the bench with like free a piece of each. Still not playing the Elisa Sparkle, interestingly enough. Because there is a risk here. If you do another Fusion Strike system, you could draw the Fusion energies, and then you can't attach them with the Elisa Sparkle. It
attaches from the deck, not from your hand. So if they're in your hand or your discard, it becomes a little bit worse.
Oh wait, oh wait, hold on. I think I must have missed something here. Maybe he didn't go for the Elisa Sparkle from the first Cramomatic. I think he thought about it, but then went to something else, but...
Now we got another Cramomatic heads. Now here we go, Freya. Now it's... Oh, and yeah, no mucking about.
No.
Get the Elisa Sparkle and the 2 Fusion Strike energy right away. Playing at a nice, swift pace here. Love to see this. Making sure we get as much Pokemon action as we possibly can.
Yeah, it's something to respect a lot, right? Where, you know, if you're 1 game up, usually you're playing like a little bit more relaxed, and thinking to yourself, okay, I'm 1 game up already, I don't need to go mega fast. But you know, Arnie's like, no, I want to finish this game. Like, you know, I want to win and finish the game fully rather than just win on time or something like that. So yeah,
it's so much more fun winning 2-0 than winning 1-0 because time ran out.
Yeah.
We did see the KO there with the Psychic Leap, obviously choosing not to go back into the deck. That would be, frankly, silly with all the effort you went to get the Mew. And now it's back over to Philip. We got a Comfey and a Cramorant, and really not much else here at all.
Also, to add insult to injury, Philip's draw for turn was a Battle VIP pass.
Oh, that's not nice.
Oh, that is really atrocious. That hand is absolutely atrocious. Like, there's no sugarcoating that one. I mean, you can figure out what the rest of the hand was before the VIP, right, from just looking at it. And yeah, it's a lot of Mirage Gates. Great card, not when you're only sitting with a Comfey and a Cram.
And choosing to, well, not really choosing, being forced to put a cross switch apart into the Lost Zone because the only other option was a Darkness Energy, 4 in the deck, but 1 of them is prized. So if you put that one in the Lost Zone, you've only got 2 to work with. You need 2 for Roaring Moon. You're cutting it way too fine at that stage. So just admitting defeat, getting rid of the cross switch apart. And look, game one, Philip was so close to winning, but game two, Arnie looks like he's potentially going to be running away with this one.
Yeah. Having said that, it goes back to something we were saying in game one, right? Philip does not need a lot to win. Like, Philip actually is able to get in and attack with the Cramorant already, which is quite nice.
He needs something.
Well, he needs something, but the way the prize trade works, there's only single prizes being knocked out here. Philip can still win and come back in this game by just knocking out 2 Mew VMAXs. That is still like a tempo option for him.
It absolutely is. I mean, really, 2 prizes down is the maximum I'm willing to go before I start getting worried. We saw that there was that extra turn in the last game that kind of really almost got Philip over the finish line, and that was after going 2 prizes down. So you can afford to go 3 prizes down.
Yes.
After that, you need to start getting quite worried.
Now, if I'm Arnie here, I'm thinking, okay, this Cramorant has just softened up this Mew. It has 2 energy on it. I have a Mew VE on the bench. I have power tablets in. I think I saw those power tablets in hand, right? I might be mistaken, but either way, I want to dig for those. I want to Psychic Leap KO this Cramorant.
Oh, absolutely. You will need. Now, I know I said I wasn't a fan of Psychic Leap in the Cramorant last game, but this game is a little bit different because you're already 1 game up, because you're already 1 prize up, because Philip is having a slow start. Getting rid of that nice and quickly and just really taking all of the pressure Philip has actually made off the board here. We do see there's now energy on another Mew, which has turned into a VMAX. So essentially, you've got 1 Mew ready to take a Fusion Strike energy, and then you've got 3 powered up Mew. You don't need to have 3 powered up Mew. 2 is enough. So Psychic Leaping, you lose the energy, but you can get them back later. You will need, well, it'll have to be 2 power tablets, annoyingly, here, because Cramorant's got 110.
Yeah, but cleverly here, notice what Arnie did. Arnie evolved the bench Mew V, not the active. Like, because you could evolve the active and then, you know, use the Cross Fusion Strike to copy a bench Mew V, but you have the Mew V there in the active, and that's the one you want to leap away to damage anyway, so why not just evolve the bench one so it's ready for next turn, and then you just Psychic Leap the one that has the damage on it without evolving it and then pointlessly shuffling a Mew VMAX back into your deck.
Sounds good to me. So we do have, we're not used a V-Star power yet, but it's absolutely on the board if you want it. We got 2 more Genesect, and Arnie really is going to have access to everything he wants here. He's got 2 Fusion Strike system, well, 1 after this now. Plus, if you whiff the thing you really wanted, you can always go for your Forest Seal Stone afterwards to cherry pick the perfect card out of your deck. There is a Roxanne there, which is no good now, annoyingly, but you never know, maybe in a couple of turns. And this is working out very, very nicely for Arnie, as Philip really needs to start drawing some better stuff next turn. Oh. I like this a lot more, because either of those Pokemon are better targets, and you don't need to Psychic Leap, you don't need to do any damage modification here. You just KO the Charizard, and that takes a good attacker off Philip's board here.
Yeah, if you're not going to Psychic Leap the damage away, then the next best thing is just to KO something more relevant, and that's exactly what Arnie is looking to do here by KOing this Radiant Charizard with the, well, I guess there's a few different attacks you can copy, but I think you have to do Techno Blast to do enough damage in this instance, I think.
Yeah, hit that 190, go for it, and then just move on and worry about it next turn. You've got plenty of other Mew that can be attacking next turn. So take out the Charizard and then basically say to Philip, hey, I'm 2 prizes up here. It is time for you to start working towards that Roaring Moon. If you can't get it, this game is not going to last too much longer.
Now, this does leave an opening for Philip, because we know there's a Chorus Experiment in hand.
Yep. That
Comfey is going to go into the active. So with the Chorus Experiment and with the Comfey, that is going to be 7 in the Lost Zone. So if with the cards that he finds off the Chorus's Experiment, he can, and the Flower Selecting, he can actually piece together a Roaring Moon and then a Knockout, that could be a pretty good comeback turn.
And we would see exactly what we saw last game. Arnie going up by 2 prizes and Philip getting a big KO on Mew and actually then taking the prize lead away straight away. And you are going to see 7 cards as well. You're going to see 2 off the Comfey and 5 off of the Chorus's Experiment. So, you know, we know the deal by now. You need your Roaring Moon, your Mirage Gate, your Energy, and your Switch Out. Yeah, that's the combo. We've seen it a bunch now. If you can hit them, yeah, we can have a very different game. Oh, what is Arnie searching here off of the Forest Seal Stone? Any card from his deck? What does he need?
I'm not quite sure. He flashed it went by so quickly, I didn't even see what it was. But I guess we're going to find out in a second. Yeah, well, if that Star Alchemy ability, well, what was that? Oh, it's a Lost City.
Yeah, it is.
That is absolutely huge. So now that Radiant Charizard not even going to be an option later. It does mean that Philip now only needs the Chorus's Experiment in order to be able to, you know, pull off this attack. And oh, hold on a second. I just realized something. Have you spotted what I spotted?
I don't know. What have you spotted?
The 2 Mew VMAX are still in the prizes. If Philip can pull together the combo turn, Arnie has no way to get a Mew VMAX because the Lost City is out. So Philip is going to KO this Mew, is going to go to the Lost Zone, and there's no way for Arnie to get a Mew VMAX.
Oh, I definitely spotted that. But no, I actually did. That is something that we did see earlier on in the game. It's something I've been tracking the whole game. I said it a couple of times. If that Mew goes down, and the Fusion Strike Energy, a load of them come out the deck now. So trying to use something like a Meloetta is going to be a lot more awkward. It's going to be difficult to use another attacker. And, you know, what are you going to do? Psychic Leap to victory?
Okay, yeah, I guess the Lost City isn't relevant to whether you can attack or not because there's no recovery cards in the deck. So, yeah, whether... I was thinking more because of the Lost City. There's like literally no way, but actually, yeah, whether there would be Lost City or not, it would still be the case because there's no way for Arnie to get a Mew VMAX even back from the discard pile.
Yeah, Mew doesn't tend to play recovery, so it really is a case of Mew goes down. No, I wasn't even thinking about the Lost City. I was just thinking about the fact that Arnie has left the Mew VMAX in the active. We've seen a Mirage Gate onto that Roaring Moon. If we see an energy and a switch out, Arnie is going to be out of good attackers, not technically out of attackers.
We don't need an engine and switch out. Remember, Philip has 3 Mirage Gates in hand. He can just Mirage Gate again and then manually attach to the Comfey to retreat it.
Wouldn't even need to manually retreat, just Mirage Gate. One onto the Roaring Moon, one onto the Comfey, boom.
That's still a manual retreat.
Oh, yeah, but you don't need a manual attachment. You just need a Mirage.
No.
This is working out very nicely for Philip. I'm still a fan of... I don't like using Mirage Gate. I love the card Mirage Gate. I don't like using Mirage Gate. I like to have a manual attachment and a switch out, save my Mirage Gate for the next Roaring Moon, which we saw was a problem in the previous game.
That is true. There is actually a Dark Energy ready to go in hand as well. Flash Attack is going to come up first. That's between a Chorus Experiment and a Comfey. Yeah, you get rid of the Comfey at this point.
Choice.
Yep. Like the Chorus Experiment is pretty much the support you want to be playing every single turn. And... yeah, that's the manual attachment. Oh, wait, does Philip have the switch out? Oh, yeah, there's a switch cart.
Yeah, I thought there was a switch cart in hand. This is by far my preferred way to do it. I want to have those Mirage Gate available in the late game because there's too many times that your combo gets too awkward. And essentially, Mirage Gate can be an attachment and a pivot in the same time. So I kind of love that.
Here's a question then. Do you preemptively power up the second Roaring Moon with the other Mirage Gates in that case?
If I've got it, yeah, absolutely.
We know there's 1 Dark Energy in the prizes and there's 1 in Philip's hand. So if he Mirage Gates, he's only playing 4 Darks, right? So that actually the Mirage Gate wouldn't do anything in this instance. So I guess, yeah, he's going to hold off on that for now. But
depending on the matchup, the old conversation changes. But
yeah.
We've seen game 1. And what did Arnie do twice in game 1? Oh, I'm going to disrupt your hand. So if I'm Philip and I can get part of it down in a situation where I know Arnie's not going after it because I've got one in the active anyway, no, I absolutely bench it and try getting some energy on early doors. Because last game, Philip lost because he couldn't set up that second Roaring Moon. Well, Arnie's kind of got to go after the active right now.
Yeah, but now, again, the problem is there's two Mew VMAX in the prizes. Like, what is Arnie attacking with here?
Psychic Leap! I honestly don't really know. There are no real good attackers. I mean, there is a potential. I don't know. I mean, how closely are we tracking the Fusion Strike Energy here? Because am I right in thinking there's 2 on the active Mew and 1 on the bench Mew?
That is right, yeah. Okay, so I'm putting my player thinking brain on. Maybe what you do here is you Psychic Leap, you put the energies back into the deck, and that opens up a potential to attack with a Meloetta or an Ice Cube using Elisa Sparkle.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next turn.
Yeah.
That doesn't help very much this turn, and the thing is, Philip is going to go and take 2 prizes, because that Roaring Moon can KO a Genesect. It's not afraid to do so. And don't get me wrong, I think you've got it. I think you have to put the energy back into the deck to try and attack with a Meloetta next turn, and that is exactly what we're seeing. No, it's not.
We're seeing a scoop.
We're seeing a concession, and Philip wins game 2. We are going to a game 3. Turns out, if you don't have Mew VMAX, then Mew VMAX is a much worse deck.
Yeah, a little bit. And I think maybe, you know, Arnie was thinking of the long shot there, thinking it might be worth trying to go for, but then maybe thinking, no, there's not much time left. This is a very, it's a very thin marginal way to potentially win, and it's not worth the risk. I would rather just, you know, save the time and go to game 3 and maybe just get a quick win that way.
It was never going to work. Philip had an attacker ready. He could definitely have KO'd a Genesect, and he had a Roaring Moon on the bench that he was clearly going to start powering up. So that was never going to work, and you now need extra time. And here's the thing, right? A tie doesn't help anybody. This is a win and in. We chose this game because both players are on a record where they win, they're in day 2, they lose or tie, they're not. These players need to finish this game. There's 7.5 minutes left, and as it stands at the moment, and I know you get championship points, etc. You know, even if you miss day 2, you can get championship points in a tournament of this size. That's not the point. We want day 2.
And would you look at that, Arnie finally doesn't prize any Mew VMAX.
But Philip does prize 2 Comfey and 2 Cross Switcher. That is not ideal from Philip, and I think we're going to see both players playing very fast. I'm going to steal Joe's phrase. They're going to go like the clappers here, because if you tie, you are not making day 2.
For the benefit of the audience at home, when Ross saw that, I literally saw Joe fist pump in the air.
Yeah, we're all watching backstage when we're not on the desk. We're all very obsessed with this Pokemon stuff. So we do see the same bench that we've seen here for Arnie. It's free Genesect, it's free Mew, no mucking about. And Arnie's got to be thinking like, yay, I don't have 2 Mew VMAX prize. And that really shouldn't be something you're concerned about. But in this matchup for Arnie, yeah, it really is.
So Fusion Strike System number 1, going to refill the hand very nicely. Finds the Forest Steel Stone straight away. That's already going to be an absolutely phenomenal find. Attaching the double turbo to the Mew, going to go for another Fusion Strike System. Yeah, it's turbo time. There's no two ways about it. Trekking Shoes as well. Finds Mew VMAX going to keep that, absolutely. One more Fusion Strike System, maybe. I'm talking as fast as the players have to play.
No, you don't. That's the thing here. If you're playing this fast, you cannot muck about setting up your board perfectly. It is, what do I need? I need a Mew, I need an Energy, I need a VMAX for next turn. Got all of them, brilliant. I got Forest Seal Stone as well if I'm desperate. Let's roll on. My bench is set up, I've got an Energy on the board, I've got a Mew VMAX ready to go. Let's send it over to Philip, because I want to be taking prizes next turn. Oh, and Philip here, it's so awkward, especially in a deck like Philip, where you're playing 1 Manaphy, 1 Charizard, 1 Jirachi, 1 Sableye, 2 Roaring Moon, 4 Energy. You kind of have to check your prizes a little bit, and you really don't have time to check your prizes.
Yeah. So this situation, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here because I've been in this exact kind of situation before. So it's the winning in for Worlds of 2016, right? Up against Frank Diaz, and it's a very similar situation. There's only like 5 minutes left, like not much time left on the clock, and you know a tie gets nothing. It's either one of us wins and we get into top 8 or not. And yeah, it is exactly as you described. You have to sacrifice a little bit of sloppiness in order to make sure you actually have time to finish the game. We just about finished that game on time. I don't need to retell the story. Everyone knows what happened at this point, but it's so important to like be as fast as you can, even if it means sacrificing a little bit of like your usual sort of not professionalism, but like usual like cleanliness of play and sort of the sort of the small things that you'd usually do, like price checking, because you just don't have time.
No, you have got to go as fast as you can, get set up, take prizes, and off you go. Imagine you're playing PTCG Live and the kettle started whistling. You need to go and make that cup of tea. You've got to take the kettle off of the top of the oven. Oh, it's getting down to it. You need to finish that game and go make your cup of tea.
Yes.
We do have 2 Comfey here from Philip. Those are all the Comfey that are going to be available until he starts taking prizes. So now it is a case of what can you do? There's 3, 1 in the lost zone. We see a switch. Oh,
Course Experiment. Yeah, that's going to be a big fight. Oh, what's the other card?
You kind of need to call.
Oh, it's a Roaring Moon.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh.
No.
Oh, Chorus versus Roaring Moon. What a arduous decision.
Oh, it does have to be Roaring Moon.
Because at least, you know, you can super rod a 1 Roaring Moon back if you attack with it. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but when you need to have the extra dig, yeah, it makes sense to go for this.
Robin is playing free super rod, but that is such a horrible decision. That's why you're playing 2 Roaring Moon and a bunch of super rod. But it had to be Chorus's Experiment, because you need to draw cards here to get rolling. This is perfect. We got a Cramorant down. We got 4 cards in the lost zone. Do we have a switching option? We got a second Cramorant down. No mucking about. Do we have a switch out to get some damage? I don't think the players are playing fast enough here, Freya. I don't think we're going to get a resolution to this game.
Yeah, this is the problem. Philip is thinking too much like a good player, right? That's the issue. You want to not be sloppy. You want to make sure that you're not doing any silly blunders, but you just don't have the time. You have to play as quick as you can, even if it means blundering slightly, if it means you can actually finish the game. Unless
you just want the championship points you think you're going to get from this finish, and a tie is better than a loss, because at least a tie gets you the points you need to work towards a Worlds invite. As much as we say a tie tie doesn't do anything for the players. Sometimes a tie actually gets you an extra 10, 20 championship points, which might be all that you need to lock up that invite or, you know, get you close enough to finish it up with cups and challenges, for instance. So as much as we want to see him in day 2, there are sometimes reasons to accept a tie, even if it's not what you're playing for.
No, that is a very good point. Now, Ultra Ball there from Arnie finds the Mew VMAX, and I think one of the big problems here, because Philip's board is all single prizes, like, is Arnie going to have enough physical time to take 6 knockouts to win? I'm not sure if he is.
I mean, no, there's no way Arnie's getting 6 turns. Arnie would need to basically get 4 turns before time is called, including this one. So he'd need this turn, plus 3 more, plus Philip's intervening turns, and then finish his 4th attacking turn, with this being number 1, before he takes his first turn in time. There's 2 minutes left.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, there's 2 Mew VMAXs on the board.
Yeah, there is.
Philip actually could very much win, even in a time scenario.
And that's kind of, Arnie's been playing a bit faster than Philip here, but I think Arnie kind of knows, like, I'm not taking lots of little prizes, and actually there is a question, and I love how Arnie's playing here. You know, in game 2, playing really fast, even though it's kind of helped your opponent a little bit. Here, evolving up those 2 Mew VMAX, I gotta tell you, I don't love Arnie evolving up 2 Mew VMAX, because it does open the door for Philip to win in 2 turns when time is called, and you can't win. Not really. Well, no, because Philip's never going to put down 2 Roaring Moon.
No, there's no way.
The second one wins him the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't win.
The very, very tough position for Arnie, given basically everything you just said. So he's going to play this out to the best of his ability, but, like, yeah, what else do you do, right?
I mean, Arnie is playing the game exactly like you're supposed to do. He's setting up his board, he's setting up his attackers, he's working to take prizes. This is everything you need to do. My problem... Oh, you know what we could see here?
Oh, what?
Psychic Leap.
Oh, that
would take the Mew VMAX off the board. It's not, but if I'm Arnie, I think next turn I am definitely Psychic Leaping with a Mew VMAX if Philip gets the KO with Roaring Moon. So although technically Philip can win here, I think if Philip's in a position where he's got 3 prizes left and 1 turn remaining, I think we're going to see the Mew VMAX Psychic Leaping away.
Yeah. I do think with that Chorus's experiments, as long as Philip can find something good off the last setting, I think he can actually piece together the KO here, you know. It's going to be... Was that... We're getting rid of a Dark Energy? That doesn't seem ideal. No. Battle VIP pass, I'm thinking about it, but no, it is going to be a Dark Energy, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you need the other bits and if you've got everything else you need, again, it's necessity.
Yeah.
Of course, you want the Darkness Energy, but if you can get the KO without it, then that is where we are. Time has been called as expected. So Philip here, it's really simple. He needs to KO 2 Mew VMAX. Arnie cannot win. Arnie's got 2 turns to take 5 prizes. It's not possible with his deck. Philip can win by KOing 2 Mew VMAX. That would include Arnie choosing not to Psychic Leap away a Mew VMAX, which I suspect is unlikely. I think we're headed for a tie here. But look, from Philip's point of view, there are 2 Mew VMAX on the board right now. You've got to play for the win.
Yeah. I guess the only way that Arnie would not Psychic Leap is if he forgets he has a Fusion Strike energy in his hand. But I don't think that's going to be very likely somehow.
No, I think we're going to be quite good here. I think we are going to be okay. So, yeah, although is there any energy on the Mew? Yeah, there is a Fusion and on the Mew and in hand. So, yeah, absolutely everything there. So I do believe we are headed for a stalemate, but Philip has to play this as if this is a possibility.
Yes.
We've got the free energy on the Roaring Moon with the Mirage Gate here. So that active Mew VMAX is not long for this game, as long as Philip's got a switch out, and I'm pretty sure he's got one in hand.
Yeah, so there's several. I mean, there's a couple of switch cards, and maybe even there was a switch that was found just now off of the last letting too.
But other than that...
Oh, okay. Switch cards?
Yeah, switch card comes down.
Oh, yeah, why not, right? You got fast selecting, you may as well do as many options, do as much of them as you can before going into this Roaring Moon.
And you are working towards next turn, remember, as far as Philip's concerned, he has to play on the assumption that a second Roaring Moon next turn will win the game.
Yeah, and that's why he's preserving the Super Rod as well, because he knows he needs that to get back both energy and the Roaring Moon. So Calamity Storm knocks out the Mew VMAX. 3 prizes, including 2 cross switcher actually, which is a pretty good find. And now it's up to Arnie. All Arnie needs to do is Psychic Leap away this Mew and then he is pretty much good to go.
Yeah, there is a Fusion Strike energy on the Mew, and I think this is a discussion. Oh, look, he Psychic Leapt, so there's no Mew VMAX on the board.
Yep.
And there is a tie. As expected, Arnie takes that second Mew VMAX away with the Psychic Leap, making it impossible for Philip to take those last 3 prizes in his 1 remaining turn. And we have a tie. Good for both players having a good record and picking up some